Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Cone Dodger here, and welcome back to Automation in the Lite campaign for Vector Automotive. We have produced the X1 Axis for a few years now. We have a stock of 940 of them. We just barely started squeaking into a profit. However, at 1986, with the length of time that it takes to produce a car, to engineer it, we need to go ahead and start making the replacement for this car. Now, overall, I would say it's been a success. The sales are good. We're getting the awareness. The markets are still in a good place. So everything seems to be going well. But what we're probably going to need to do is actually stop production on this car. We still have 940 of them to sell for maybe the next 2 or 3 years. There might be a little lull in between models, but that's okay. I don't think our awareness will suffer too badly with that. And considering we've sold 1,424 cars in total over the first couple of years of its production, I'm not too worried about selling through the 940 in the later 2 years. Everybody that really wanted one was going to buy one the first 2 years. But the thing that I really want to improve upon is our reputation. Our prestige is coming up nicely, but the reputation is faltering. And if we take a look at the Axis, the X1 Axis, I think the Axis name will be the one that sticks. So I was previously producing them at 1.1 shifts, making that many cars, 157 per month. I could, in theory, drop this down to half a shift and produce 71 per month, and perhaps even charge less for them to sell them out. Sell them, get them off the lots here. That's unnecessary for me at this point. I think since we have such a good starting budget, we need to fix the issues with the car first. And that issue was the reliability. 27.2 on the engine was not good enough. So we need to hope that with our R&D and with our, now more experience in building this kind of car or building this kind of engine, we can make a more reliable engine and a more reliable car. The car itself had an average reliability of 51.7, so that's important to remember as well. So as we press forward here, I want to try and keep this same theme. We may go for a different body, we will see, but we're going to do the X2 Axis and try and just build on the same concept but make it better. This is probably not also a car that will recoup us the money that we need to recoup. We may even go ahead and spend, we may go down to, the $2 billion level in the piggy bank, but it's an important kind of step for our company. Alright, I went ahead and did it. This car has been canceled. I could have left it going for a little bit longer, but I think 940 is plenty. But let's go ahead and start working on the X2. So the year is now 1986. We need to go for a coupe body, and we need it to be last 10 years, and we want it to be mid or rear. We got this body now, huh? Oh yeah. Now this to me is almost a little too 90s looking, so I'm gonna have to do some things here to make it relevant for 1986, but I will try and do just that. So rather than the flatter nose with the more, like a face. In the 90s, these exotic cars have more of a face to them. In the 80s, they like to come down to a point. They like to not have the nose very, very close to the ground. So I've done that. I've lifted the nose up. It could go all the way down to here. But I think this is more to the look that fits the theme. The back, it's got a very voluptuous rear end. You can make this much smaller, but I think thematically it works with the very large back end and, a V8 in the rear of the car in a mid-rear setup. You need a lot of space. So I think that works quite well. Chassis-wise, we're not going to do anything terribly different than what we did before, but now you will see we have familiarity in things like fiberglass. We've now experienced with fiberglass, so we have a 10% familiarity with it. We also have 2 quality points to spend here for no additional money, so we'll absolutely be doing that. That should only help with things. Alrighty, here we go. That is, I think, the fixture design that I want to stick with, at least for the moment, unless I decide I want to change it. Some important updates from the last one. The vents over the wheels are facing the correct way. What was the other thing? There was something else ridiculous. Oh yeah, from the side, you can see the indicators from the side. So we are now compliant with those rules, as somebody pointed out. And overall, I think it's pretty good. If you compare it to maybe like an 86, 87 Countach, it's got that same kind of look to it. We started to get into that era where wings are key. Even though they may not do very much, it's important to have them because it's a stylistic thing you have to have. It's hard to see overall what it's going to look like without the wheels on there, but we'll get there. Somewhere down the line, I picked longitudinal instead of transverse. We definitely want transverse. Let's build this one out in a darker red instead of the bright red. And moving on to the engine, we should, if I understand correctly, have to build a new engine again, but we're going to try and make it as similar to the last one as possible so that we have all of that existing technology built up, which means it will once again be a V8 crossplane with a aluminum bottom and top ends. Ooh, now I need to stretch my memory. Did we do dual red cam on that one? I believe that we did. If not, then we are now. And size-wise, I think are less restricted in this one. We can have a larger engine in it. Not much larger, but larger. Let's do 4.5. I think that's good. Again, with the bottom end, I'm not going to go too crazy with it. I don't see the need. We have familiarity in these things now, so that should help our reliability, which is what we want. We will also be, I think, spending a little bit more of the quality points this time around, since we're going to be selling this at such a hefty markup anyway. One of the most important changes to us, though, is the availability of electronic fuel injection, which will really wake this engine up, and I think give us the power figures we want with the reliability that we want. So we can do single or multi-point EFI, and we have super unleaded fuel available to us, which will be important. All things that will make us more power. So last time I think we were making in the range of like the 310, 315 horsepower mark. Now we're up to 353, but we have a reliability of 45 rather than 27. That's a huge increase already, and we still have a lot of tuning left to do with this. Fuel octane's at 85, so obviously we're going to make a lot more power by increasing the compression to a more usable number. We can go really crazy high with it, like 11.5 to 1, and still have reliability of 45 and make 374 horsepower. Because reliability is going to mean so much to me on this build, I'm actually going to reduce this to be a square engine. So we're going to reduce the capacity of it, at least for this particular build, down to 4.1 liters, which would get us down to 350 horsepower, but a reliability of 56.1. That's a really, really good number. Ideally, we would want a higher rev limit in this engine because we could make more power, but it really hurts the reliability to do that, so it's going to be peaking out, at 353 and have more left in it. The more left in it isn't a huge concern for me because I'm already concerned that we're not going to be able to use that 353 horsepower effectively. So I may actually bring down the cam a little to try and get that peak power somewhere more to that 6,000 RPM range. End of the day, not super effective. It's got a nice torque curve there. It's making, in the 300 horsepower mark by 500 or 5,000 RPM. So I think we'll just leave it at that. 350 horsepower, 310 foot-pounds of torque at 4,800 RPM and 6,700 RPM. Reliability is 51.9. I think these are numbers that we can be happy with. And an economy of 12.48. I think that's actually better than the last engine. It should be with the EFI on there. And yeah, let's see what that reliability does for us. Already things are looking far better than they did before, and we have so much more available to us here in 1986. It's really kind of mind-blowing what a difference it is from when we started this to where we are now. Obviously, a lot of time actually passed. It didn't really seem like it, but a lot of time passed because it takes so long to engineer a car like this and produce it. So let's start going through the stuff here. And we have Hyper and Super selected. You can see they're already well into the green. But let's see, we have a 4-speed manual still. I'd say we're going to reuse that. We're going to try and reuse as much of the drivetrain stuff as possible from our last car. And top speed wise, we're in a good range already. Wheel spin's actually really low, which is surprising, but we have a lot of weight over the rear wheels, which are quite big, so that's good. I mean, that's a really good thing, but we have viscous LSD and geared LSD available to us now. We could nick that wheel spin down to 0 with one of those. Honestly, the viscous does it, so I think that's what we'll use, because it's not super expensive, but still gives us that prestigious kind of, you know, major launch off the line is what I'm talking about, more than anything. How fast can we get it to 60? Or 62, you know. It looks like 5.1 is about where we're stuck at the moment. So tire-wise, I went with a 255, 275, and here, we'll get rid of this screen here so you can see. I like those wheels on this particular body. That's a good-looking wheel. 255 up front and a 275 in the rear. I can go larger if need be, but at the moment, I don't think I have a need for it to be. The handling on this particular chassis and this build is significantly better, probably due to the tire size we can get under it, because the last one we were pretty restricted. In this one, no such restriction. Looks like our front and rear brakes are performing well. Rear brakes are actually performing much better than they need to, so I'm going to reduce the size of that rear rotor to save some weight and get some more production out of it. Now, the brake fade is a slight issue. 4.8% though is very, very small. That's not a huge number by any means. Vented rears may fix most of that, and they do. So we'll go ahead and do that. For the body, as of right now, we're making rear downforce, but not front. That's in the stock configuration of it. Now, if we get rid of the lift on the front end and keep some downforce on the rear end, we can really improve the steering at high speeds, which would really give us a good track time, which is something that's pretty good for the you know, prestige of the car. It may never be noticeable on the street, but it's something real important for the overall, like, perception of the car. Interior, I didn't do anything dramatically different than our last build. We got a handmade interior with luxury cassette this time around. We're getting pretty modern, and power steering and electric brakes are available to us. And it does look like that improves our score all the way around, so let's do it. This one's going to be far more expensive than the first car, but I think a far better car all around. Handling-wise, that's really phenomenal. This thing's going to turn some G's, I have a feeling. Don't know that there's too much I really want to change. We can probably lower that ride height down. I didn't give it suspension quality. What was I thinking? There we go. That will only help. So how are we looking as of right now? Really good scores. 40, 53, 45, 54, 44. Average reliability is 59.3. But the biggest improvement is really in the engine department. That's a, 30% or 30 score points improvement from engine score on the last one to this one. That should really help our reputation out. And on the test track, we do have improvement. It's not a huge leap, but all around it is better. Higher top speed, 166, 13.2 in the quarter mile. Acceleration 5.1 to 60. Cornering G's is just incredibly better. 1.11 and 1.14. This car would be lightning quick around the track, and let's actually do that just for the sake of it. And that puts us at a 121.47. I think we picked up at least a second over the last iteration, so that's pretty good. And market-wise, let's go ahead and bump that up to, let's say, 100% to start. Hyper and Super doing well, and GT Premium. So everything pretty much the same here, but I think these scores are actually a little bit better than we saw last time. And Luxury Superior, that's a class I didn't even know existed, is also showing some signs of life. So in Hyper, we now have a reduction in competitors. We only have 2 hypercars and 2 supercars to compete with. quite a few in GT Premium. So that's an interesting development there. So what might happen here is we might start to pretty much just completely dominate the Hyper and Super and have to branch out into things like GT Premium and maybe Convertible Super. Alright, let's dive into the fun bits here of deciding how to produce this car. I'm hoping we can get this thing out before 1990. That's my biggest goal. We'll have 2 years of sales of our existing car. That'll bring us to about 88. And then if we can start selling this car in 90, I think we'll be in good shape. I will not be reducing the reliability slider for the sake of saving time, though. That is one thing that will not happen. So there's a slight problem. The engineering time would take 8 years and 11 months. Probably because of the multi-point EFI, so we may need to go back and revise that. That is just far too long. So we're having to make some sacrifices here to be able to produce this car by 1990 or around there. Maybe 91 might be the new goal. So if we go to overhead cam, 3 valve per cylinder, and if we go to single point EFI, that would reduce our engineering time pretty significantly. Let's look for anything else that has a large or high engineering time that's low. At the top end, I don't think we did anything too crazy here. Bottom end, we certainly didn't do anything crazy there. That's average. Oh man, that only reduced us to 7 years. This is going to be a real turning point. We've really made our bed already. We already canceled production on the X1. So how can we produce this thing any faster? There's one thing I did forget. I have to hire me. Where's me? There's me. Choose me. And that brings us down to 6 years, 8 months. Well, that's better than it was before, anyway. The total engineering time is 6 years, 8 months. Total car engineering time is 5 years, 3 months. So, how do we get this to be even lower? I don't know. At the end of the day, that might be a sacrifice we just have to make. A 6 year, 8 month engineering time. So, what we're going to do is probably match the car to that engineering time. So we'll go back to the car and increase reliability here, which will only help that reputation issue that we've faced. This is the bed that we made, like I said, so we're going to try it out and see what happens. So we're going to be using the same factories here. Now, maybe we can try to improve some things here as well. Automation. So if we do that, we will have less staff and lower production costs and slightly higher production output, lower values, lower tooling costs. So automation is only a better thing, but it just costs money. So we'll increase the automation so that we can produce a lot of them, maybe in a couple of years, and start producing our new car quicker. That would be, I think, the thing I've learned the most, is that I need to get on making the new car really soon. Alright, so as of now, we're doing 8.81 engines and required 8.1 because we have a limit on cars. So that all looks good. We can adjust that later as needed. Let's go to, well, yeah, let's match out the car. Let's go to the next tab here for the price of the car, a 100% increase, and we're still doing good. Let's see what even maybe a 110, a 120% markup would do. Yeah, 150, and we're still seeing a pretty healthy amount of green here. So I think that's what I'm going to try and do. We're talking a major profit per car, but we need to do that. We got to turn the financial figures of the company around a little bit here. I mean, the average budget of the buyers in these demographics, 302,000. 302,000 in Hyper. And Super's 113, so we could probably even go higher than that. Let's see what happens. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to try it. Let's do a 200% markup on this thing. Let's see if we can still sell them. We can always lower the price in the future if we need to, but I don't really think we're going to need to. All of these buyers have that much money easily. Easily. And we're still going to be making a healthy margin per car. Might not be healthy enough yet, but we'll see. But as of right now, we're going to be producing way more than we need to. But that's okay, because we can reduce that shifts down to like 1.3, something like that. And like I said, we're going to want to produce a lot of these things right out of the gate. The number of cars that are prognosticated, I love that word, prognosticated, to sell in this trim, this region, is 21 136.4 versus 136. Okay. So we're still not doing fantastic in Florinia, but it's a much smaller market. Much smaller market. And here, ouch, ouch. Oh, that hurts. That hurts me in my sides. Production won't start until 1992. Ouch. Grand total of 1.2 billion to do this. And profit per month is only 8.8 million. If everything goes well. Yikes. Cost per car is 28,000 plus 200% markup. 155 cars a month. 8.8. That's if we sell every car. Not sure I'm ready to sign off on this. I might want to go in and look at increasing the price of the car too. All right. So we got it better. 11 million per month means we have a break even in 2001. That's 110 months. That's better than the last car by a large margin. However, it's still not a car that's going to make our company. It's still a Halo car, and we're going to have to address this. I don't think in the way the current economy works in the game, you can make a purely profitable company with just hypercars, with just Halo cars. So I think the next thing we're going to do is start making something we can sell and sell more of. So maybe try and get into the pony/muscle car market with something that is still influenced by Vector's design, something that I think fits in the theme of the company. So maybe that's what we'll try and do next time. But I'm going to bite the bullet here and hit start. And we're going to try this. We're just going to see what happens. So, interesting things happened. The X1 did really well in 1986. We sold every single one of them. So we no longer have a car for sale, and it's only 1987. We did make some money off of it, though. We let's see, revenue 59 million. We only spent, 187 million, so we didn't lose as much money building this car as we did the last one. So we're still sitting on 3.1 billion. But we still have a lot of engineering to do on the X2, so I guess I'll just let it go through here until the X2 is ready for production, and we'll probably stop it there and start next episode with seeing how the X2 does. As I sit here and watch my awareness slowly trickle back down to 30%. Oh no, it's the worst. There was one terrible thing that could possibly happen, and that would be a crash in the market while I was engineering this car. It's 1989, and it's currently happening. We're going to have to hope it comes back up by 1992. It's still headed down. It's still headed really, really down. It's 1990. Not long to go now. 1991, we're still, spending the money on developing the X2. But one important thing has happened. The market has stabilized, at least. It's no longer dropping. So maybe by 1992 things will start to come up. Alright, so it's bad. It's real bad. We are in Gazmea, and Gazmea is still falling significantly in the luxury market. There's not much else to say besides this is going to be a total disaster. But we'll just have to wait and see how much of a total disaster it is as we start to produce these cars in 1992. And get ready to watch that happen next time here in Automation. Thank you as always for watching. And my only regret is that nobody will be able to afford how awesome this car is.